A homeless boy handed me a crumpled note that said, "Your daughter-in-law put something in your coffee. Don't drink it." And my blood turned to ice. My name is Arthur Pendleton. I'm 70 years young, a retired history teacher who thought his greatest challenge was crossword puzzles. After my beloved wife Clara died a year ago, my son Julian and his wife Ilara begged me to come live with them in their sleek, modern apartment in Seattle. "Just until you find your footing again, Dad," Julian had said. Oh, the irony. That Thursday began perfectly. Ilara brought my morning tea out to the balcony, as she did every single day. "Special oolong for you, Arthur," she'd chirp, with a smile that was all perfect teeth and empty eyes. I should have wondered why I always got the delicate china cup with a gold rim, while they used sturdy ceramic mugs. I was watching the ferries cross the Sound, taking what I believed was a soothing sip, when Ilara said she was off to her yoga class. "Relax and enjoy the view," she trilled. As if I could relax in a home that felt like a beautifully decorated cage. An hour later, I went for a walk to the public gardens. Clara and I had walked there every weekend for 40 years. The salty air was refreshing, and for a brief moment, I didn't feel like a ghost in my own family. That's when I noticed him. A young boy, maybe 9, huddled under a rhododendron bush. His jacket was too thin, and he clutched a half-eaten apple. When he saw me, he scrambled to his feet with a desperate energy. "Sir. Please, sir," he called out, his voice barely a whisper over the breeze. "Pause." He rushed over, his eyes wide with fear, and shoved a piece of paper into my hand. His fingers were icy. "The lady in the fancy coat," he breathed. "She puts white powder in your drink. I see her from my spot near the dumpster. Don't trust her." And before I could utter a single word, he turned and sprinted away, disappearing behind a hedge, leaving me with a crumpled warning and a terror so deep it felt like ice in my veins. I stared at that note until the letters swam. His handwriting was messy but clear. "Your daughter-in-law is poisoning your tea. Do not drink it." Underneath, scrawled in a hurry, "I sleep in the garden shed. She doesn't see me." My thoughts raced. The unexplained stomach aches. The dizzy spells that Ilara said were just part of getting older. The deep, unnatural sleep that left me groggy until afternoon. "You're still grieving, Arthur," she'd say, her voice dripping with fake concern. "Your body is just tired from the sadness." But I wasn't just sad. I was being medically subdued. I abandoned my walk and hurried home, my mind reeling. Back on the balcony, my cup of tea was still there, now cold. It looked innocent. But the boy's words screamed in my head. I picked it up, carried it to the kitchen, and poured it down the drain, feeling like I was flushing my own trust away. How many times had I drunk her poison? When Ilara returned, she was all bright energy. "Did you enjoy your tea, Arthur?" she asked, placing a bag of expensive groceries on the counter. "You look a bit pale." "Just a bit off today," I said, studying her face. "Didn't quite finish it." A tiny muscle in her jaw twitched. "That's a shame. It's very good for digestion. Perhaps you need a stronger blend." A stronger blend. Like a stronger dose of whatever she was using to weaken me. That night, I lay in my bed, listening to the hum of the city. For the first time in months, my head was clear. The mental fog was gone. And with clarity came the chilling memory of whispered arguments I'd overheard. "We can't keep this up, Julian. He's a constant shadow. He's my father, Ilara. What do you want me to do? The new facility on Mercer Island has a waiting list. We need to expedite things. Make it clear he's unfit to live alone." Expedite things. They were trying to make me seem sick, to push me into a home and get me out of their way. The betrayal was a physical pain in my chest. My own son was allowing this. The next morning, the ritual repeated. "Morning, Arthur. Your tea." Ilara sang, handing me the gold-rimmed cup. "You look well-rested." "I feel incredibly clear-headed today," I said, bringing the cup to my lips but not drinking. She watched me, then seemed satisfied and turned away. I slipped into the bathroom and poured the tea into the sink. When I came out, I heard her on the phone upstairs. Much more alert today. We might need to adjust the mixture. Adjust the mixture. There it was. Cold hard proof. They were poisoning me and planning to increase the dose. I sat at the dining table, my hands steady with rage. I was no longer a victim. I was a historian on the verge of uncovering a terrible truth. Over the next few days, I became a spy in my own home. I accepted the tea, I pretended to sip, and I disposed of it when she wasn't looking. My energy surged back. My focus returned. I listened to her phone calls. The doctor will sign the competency papers once he sees the full picture, she told someone. The episodes are becoming more frequent. Episodes she was causing. They were going to have me declared incompetent. I needed proof. On Saturday, fortune smiled on me. Julian was away at a conference. Ilara was called to a sudden, urgent meeting with her interior design clients. I was alone. The second her car left the garage, I began my search. I started in the kitchen. Nothing in the tea canisters. Nothing in the spice rack. Then I checked a high cabinet filled with Ilara's fancy, never-used baking supplies. Behind a bag of organic coconut sugar I found it. A small, unmarked glass bottle with a dropper. The liquid inside was clear and had no smell. I took pictures with my phone. Evidence. In her ensuite bathroom, tucked behind a mountain of lotions, I found a printed article, Managing Difficult Elderly Relatives with Herbal Supplements. It talked about using valerian root and passion flower in high concentrations to induce sedation. More pictures. But the jackpot was in Julian's study. He'd forgotten to lock his filing cabinet. Inside, I found a folder labeled Arthur Transition. It contained brochures for the Mercer Island Elder Care Facility, printouts of my pension and investment statements, and a drafted letter to my doctor describing my rapid cognitive decline and erratic behavior. They were stealing my future. They were painting me as a madman to steal my freedom and my money. I heard the garage door open. Ilara was back early. I rushed to the living room, grabbed a book, and pretended to be asleep in my armchair. "Arthur," she called. I made a soft snoring sound. She walked past me, and I heard her on the phone in the kitchen. "It's working. He's asleep again. We just need to keep it up until the spot opens next month." Next month. They had a timeline. The confrontation had to happen now. Sunday evening, Julian returned. He looked tired but happy to be home. "Dad, how was your weekend?" "Revealing," I said, standing firm. "We need to talk. All of us." Ilara came in, her smile tight. "What's this about, Arthur?" I held up my phone and showed them the first picture. The hidden bottle. Ilara's face went sheet white. "What is that? Where did you get that?" "I think you know exactly what it is," I said, my voice cold. "This is what you've been putting in my tea. Every single day." Julian looked confused. "Dad, what are you talking about?" I showed him the next photo. The article on herbal sedation. Then the brochures. Then the letter. His confusion turned to horror as he recognized his own handwriting. "Ilara, what is this?" She stared, her mask finally crumbling. "It's for his own good, Julian. He's confused. He's a danger to himself. By poisoning me," he roared. Julian looked at his wife, betrayal dawning on his face. "You told me he was forgetting to take his vitamins. You told me the doctor suggested gentle herbs for anxiety." "They are gentle," she screamed. "They just help you sleep. Help you be less difficult." And the facility. The letter to my doctor. The copies of my financial records. Julian was now staring at Ilara as if she were a stranger. "You said we were just planning for the future. As a precaution. The future where you control my money and I'm locked away," I said. The truth hung in the air, ugly and undeniable. The next few hours were a storm of yelling, tears, and lawyers' names. Ilara finally broke down and admitted everything. She wanted me gone. She wanted our apartment to herself. She wanted my money to fund her designer lifestyle. She had been slowly poisoning me to make her lies seem true. Julian was devastated. He ordered her to leave. She left, screaming threats about alimony and her share of the assets. The silence she left behind was heavier than any noise. "I'm so sorry, Dad," Julian cried. "I believed her. I trusted her." "We both did," I said. "But trust broken is a lesson learned." The following weeks were spent untangling her web. We found more hidden documents. She had already begun the process to become my legal guardian. We went to the police. Ilara was charged with attempted elder abuse and fraud. But the most amazing twist came a month later. Detective called. They had found the boy. His name was Leo. He was 12. He had run away from a group home and had been sleeping in the garden shed, surviving on leftover food from a nearby cafe. He saw Ilara from the balcony, adding something to my tea every morning. He knew what it was because a staff member at his group home had done the same to the kids to keep them quiet. My brave boy. He risked everything to warn a stranger. "Is he safe?" I asked. "He's in protective custody," the detective said. "But, Mr. Pendleton, he asked about you. He wanted to know if the old man was okay." I knew what I had to do. Julian and I talked for a long time. We had a big, empty apartment that needed to feel like a home again. We had love to give. We went to meet Leo. He was small and wary, but his eyes were bright and intelligent. "Thank you," I said to him. "You saved my life." He just shrugged. Nobody believed me at the home either. That was it. We started the process to become Leo's foster family. It wasn't easy. He was scared and angry. But slowly, with patience, he began to trust us. He started calling our apartment home. 6 months later, the adoption was finalized. Leo Pendleton, my grandson. Julian became the father he never knew he could be. Our home is now filled with the sounds of video games and history homework. One evening, Leo looked at me from across the room. "Granddad," he said. It was the first time. "Yes, Leo. What would have happened if I didn't give you that note?" Thought about it. "I think I would have slowly disappeared into a fog," I said. "And you would have still been in that shed. We saved each other, Leo." He gave me a small, real smile. "Yeah, I guess we did. I am Arthur Pendleton. I am a father, a grandfather, and a survivor. My family isn't what I thought it was. It's something I built from the ashes of betrayal, with the help of a courageous boy. And it's more beautiful than I ever could have imagined."